Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. Tonight on the show we're going to be announcing the giveaway winners for the community question of the week that just ended, like right now. And the question was, how do you feel about Nihilus Space? Does it give you the opportunity to grow, or I don't know, to do stuff, to explore? We found out about end space and what it implies in the recent update, so let's give a round of applause for the two winners that were picked by random.org. First winner is Kempi, with the comment, a bit mixed for me, Gica. On the one hand, I'm excited for some sorely needed new content, but on the other, I'm disappointed it's not wormholes. Really hoping they will eventually bring that in, as I love that in EVE Online. Having said that, I'm hopeful and looking forward towards Nihilus Space. What does concern me is how it's implemented, especially bringing in reprocessing of dead loot. It could kill the market further if not thought through correctly and implemented fairly. The most interesting thing will be how scanning shakes up the whole ISK-making meta. There could be a huge shift out of high sex and plummeting of mission value. That is very true. The game needs a shake-up, but there's a lot here to deliver and get right. Be interesting to see when it actually drops. I can see it being pushed back to next week, as I wonder if they have given themselves a bit too much to do. I'm expecting a lot of issues when it drops, but hopefully it gives us a stim pack to the game. Kimpi is right about that, the missions and encounters and the storylines being affected. However, it does bring a stim pack to the game. It did get postponed from the 2nd June. It's going to be dropping today, Friday, which is 4th of June. We'll be getting a very, very big update. I think in terms of content, it's way bigger than that balance update that we were given, and it actually brings some value to the game. Moving over to the next winner, and it's Mmorpg with the comment, it's a pity that end space is multiplayer content only. I would have thought that a variety of single player and multiplayer content would have been best. Obviously, the more difficult, the greater the rewards. That is correct. Unfortunately, if you guys didn't know, the end space is pretty much a group area, or like, let's say a raid instance, whatever you can call it in other MMOs. It can be done from a solo player perspective, but not the dead spaces. Those are going to be very difficult unless we could find like 5 greater tech level 5 dead spaces inside end space, which, given the increase in difficulty, could be like a 7 tech level dead space that still can be soloed in nullsec by one player with a decent ship. However, keep in mind that end space will be very dangerous, and we'll get to a point in this video where I will be showcasing you a design that I think that how the end space anomalies will look like, because it's practically a sphere. How much design can you put inside a sphere? Also, the mining, you can still do solo mining, but I advise using a cloaky mining ship. Why? Because when you're mining, there's going to be other people jumping in your pocket and probably inside your mining belt anomaly. Given the fact that there's no warp out inside the anomaly sphere, you know, there will be a sphere that will protect anyone inside it from the gamma ray bursts that are happening in end space. This is not looking good for anyone not having a cloaking device. Why? Because whoever is going to jump inside the anomaly using a gravity well, we don't know where the gravity wells will be located, so it'll probably be near the asteroids mining, and whoever's going to come is just going to go for you. Your only chance of escape is via the same gravity well or wells that are pretty much inside the same anomaly bubble that protects the field. So if you don't get to one of those and jump out, you're going to be dead meat. Well, unless you have a cloaking device, but it's still so dangerous. Even with the cloaking device, you'll have to cloak up and go into some direction and hope that the other player or players don't find you. Congratulations to Kempi and Mmorpg. Please leave a comment below with your in-game name and your character ID so I can pass that information down to the people responsible in handing out the prizes. You'll be receiving your prizes next week, probably, or the latest the week after. Thank you all for participating, and stay tuned until the end of the video because we will be having yet another community question of the week with 2 Omega Combo clones ready to give out using, of course, random.org for next week. Let's move on to the patch notes because they're pretty big and they're pretty important. As I mentioned, there's quite a lot of content inside this specific update, way much better and bigger in terms of scaling compared to the balance update. That was pretty shitty in my opinion. Of course, it did brought in some ships and some stuff, but most of the stuff was just nerfing that, nerfing this, destroyers, we should buff them, no, nerf those. So the scanning update does bring a lot of value to the product, and the product is Eve Echoes. We get a bit of lore. We'll touch on lore in the next episode because I will be showcasing the chronicle that I've been writing. If you don't know, I'm writing up a chronicle. It's close to finishing, and I'm pretty much going to talk to the lore team at NetEase into trying to push this chronicle to be canon and to serve as a storyline in Eve Echoes. Yeah, story, a thing that is pretty scarce when it comes to Eve Echoes. Hopefully this will change and we'll be having a lot of stuff, a lot of content and chronicles. If this goes well, I'll be writing even more. First things first, we got the exploration technology and neutrino resonance wave, added wave resonance scanners and nano scanners. Pirates will drop mark resonance scanners. So you can find them in NPCs, random NPCs. You can find them in anomalies. You can find them in encounters. I believe they will be dropping anywhere. Well, of course, there's going to be a chance-based drop. All factions' storyline supply chests will have a chance of dropping Meta Level 5 and Meta Level 8 resonance scanners. So whoever's been holding off on the opening of these chests is going to be having a nice surprise because one, he could open themselves and get these scanners, or they can sell them on the market for an amazing price. Right now the market has gone up for these crates. They're insane. People are going to stash them and open them in bulk once the update launches just to get those scanners first. And also in Scout Anomalies there will be rigging capable of reducing the chance of being discovered by narrow resonance scanner. So the modules that prevent the scanning of your ship or help you with increasing the time one needs to scan you down is going to be inside rigs. So this is going to be the main module, the main item that will help you survive scanning. Although I still recommend having warp core stability in terms of warp core optimizer in rigs or in modules to get out even if you're scanned down and tackled. That would be probably the best approach, at least in my opinion. We got more details on Nihilus Space. Number 1, reduce the probability of discovering condensed belts. Gravity wells leading to condensed belts will be discovered by chance. This applies to all systems. So the chance for a condensed belt to spawn randomly, like in the belt section of a system, has now been reduced, and most of the condensed belt and rich belts will be found inside end space. Number 2, slightly reduce the probability of discovering dead space anomalies. However, there's now a chance to discover gravity wells leading to Nihilus dead space in all systems. So the dead space anomalies that were being spawned by the faction pirate base whenever you done the anomalies, because the dead space anomaly was kind of a special anomaly alongside Inquisitor and the Scout anomaly, will now have a reduced chance of spawning. And also on top of that, the dead spaces have been moved from showing up in the overview to being scannable. So the normal dead spaces have a reduced chance of spawning. This is probably to cut down on the C-type modules that have been quite a lot of them in-game and on the market. And if you want more dead spaces, you can always try to find Nihilus systems and jump inside using the gravity walls and search for the dead spaces inside there, but be careful, those are going to be a lot more difficult to deal with. Number 3, added 2 new modules to capture outposts or gravity well trap device and dead space gravity well trap device. These can only be used in sovereignty systems after running for a week. The device will generate a gravity well. Number 4, capsulees can now discover Nihilus dead spaces of 5 different factions. That is the Garistas, the Angels, the Blood Raiders, the Sancha, and the Serpentis. each with their own complex structure. Capsuleers can obtain materials that can be reverse engineered into stronger Dead Space modules and nanocores. A brand new addition to the game, however, you will face powerful pirates, even ones with Dead Space modules. Pretty neat. We'll talk about nanocores in a moment. We'll get to them right down below. Number 5 added a new Nihilus condensed belt. Belts of different levels vary in complexity, but all contain large amounts of rich ores waiting for capsuleers to mine. Again, be careful out there. Moving over to nanocores. What are nanocores? New nanobot technology secretly developed by Concord Aerospace and the Independent Gaming Commission. This technology will tweak some of the ship's abilities, and many factions have quietly got involved in this research. Some bored Serpentis researchers modify the ship's power core processing code so that the nanocore also modifies the ship's appearance, but at a steep price. We don't know what that kind of steep price, but we'll probably find out. Number 1, there are 4 levels of nanocores in terms of strength, type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Due to the improper tampering of data, type 3 and 4 cores have caused irreversible damage to a few users. Because of this, Concord added them to the list of trade-restricted items, meaning they can be used but not sold on the market. You can find them on contracts, and they'll probably be spammed on contracts. According to sources, those who are found trading them in private may have their license confiscated. What does that mean? If you do a contract, will you get like banned? No, this is out of the question. This is mostly just for story. But if you do carry one in your cargo flying through HiSec, you'll probably be tackled by the police. This happens in EVE Online. If you're carrying drugs and you jump a gate and there's a police customs ship, an NPC of course, scanning you, and it's going to issue a pop-up message, please drop what you have inside your cargo hold in terms of sanctioned items, otherwise be destroyed. So if you just don't drop them, they'll pop you. It's pretty clear. So I'm guessing this is going to be introduced here as well. So yeah, worth going into contracts, but probably don't fly into HiSec having them in your cargo hold. We don't know the effects of this one yet. Nanocores of different strengths will allow varying degrees of ship's appearance and customizations. So alongside the fact that you get some extra stats, which might be similar to how implants work in EVE Online, but implants go into your skull, and you have an implant, and if your ship goes boom, then I don't know, you just try to escape with your pod, so you get to escape with your implants intact. Here we don't have implants, but these nanocores are going to be working in a pretty similar manner, but they will be applied to the ship. So they'll pretty much give you some modifiers in terms of ship stats, and a modification in appearances. Number 3, high-level nanocores are known to emit a special glow, which can also be customized thanks to Serpentis modifications. Due to this peculiar nature, they quickly became popular among some pilots and used as a tool for self-expression. I'm guessing it's just going to make your ship go bling bling. Aside from that, it can just make you a popular target. Number 4, nanocores of different strengths will also improve different ship modules, giving them different abilities and attributes. I'm guessing you'll be able to fire torpedoes from 30 kilometers away, stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of stats and bonuses we will get. More of this on our next content episode, where we'll be focusing on the items added into the game. This includes the scanners, the nanocores, and everything else, including the X-types, B-types. Probably do a comparison. We'll see. Number 5, capsuleers can gain advantages in combat and flying when using these cores, provided that they learn from suitable data sources. I don't know what the hell that means. Number 6, once fitted to a ship, nanocores cannot be easily unfitted. Unfitting requires the use of special materials. Only part of the materials will be refunded. So I'm guessing you'll need like some screwdrivers and some blowtorches to rip that thing off your ship, and some of them will be consumed upon using them to get the nanocore out of your ship. Also, number 7, nanocores can also be covered by insurance. So, if your ship goes boom, you can recover the nanocore. It's not going to be lost. You can fit it back on your ship. New industry jobs, Dead Space module reverse engineering. So, add reverse engineering jobs for all existing Dead Space modules. Currently, Type C Dead Space modules can be reverse engineered into Type B can be reverse engineered into Type A, and Type A can be reverse engineered into Type X. The failure of which leads to great losses, of course. Probably the chances of reaching an X-type modules is going to be quite costly in terms of resources. So let's say you'll probably need 2 or 3 C-type modules to reverse engineer into a B-type, then you probably need 2 B-types to reverse into an A, and then from A to X, it's like, I don't know, 15% chances of success. It's a gamble, but some that do have a lot of resources at their disposal will probably go for that gamble to get that extra percentages in terms of stat bonuses. Also, put them on the market and get filthy rich. Number 2, giants in the field of research mapped out the inner workings of Dead Space modules through experiments and summarized them, which is sure to greatly improve the success rate of Dead Space module reverse engineering. There's a bracket here that says, but losses from failure are still great. Do you get a partial success, like you get some components that you can still use, or we don't know. This is something that needs to be explored. I'm hoping to get on the test server and try to do these and see how it goes. New industry job, nanocore reverse engineering. And we get added reverse engineering jobs for nanocore for major factions. Products of such jobs can be fitted to matching ships. Reverse engineering can produce Type 2 and 3 nanocores. Due to a ban by Concord, capitalists can only trade Type 2 faction nanocores on the market and not Type 3. But again, nothing mentioned about Type 4. I'm guessing Type 4 falls in the same category as the rest of the things in terms of rigs and stuff. We all know that Type 4 stuff is unavailable. When will it be available? We don't know, but it looks like the same pattern here. We will get in the game Type 1, 2, 3, and 4, but only Type 1, 2, 3 will be available. Type 4 will probably be off limits because, well, this pretty much emphasizes on that. Number 3, in New Eden there aren't yet the technologies that enable the use of magnetic materials in the nanocore reverse engineer process. It's still unclear whether such technologies can be developed in the future, but the potential enhancements they can provide have certainly driven relevant parties to attempt to bring them to reality, which may or may not happen. I'm guessing this is the thing that I've been talking about Type 4 nanocores, to reverse engineer them and to get, use the magnetic materials found in end space to get the Type 4. Not sure. We also get a new event, the first official Concord Capsulator Co-op Training Pass. So you'll get a battle pass that you need to buy. It's going to be most likely premium on top of premium, just like it was with the Garistas event, it was called the Hunt or something. So you'll probably be able to do the normal pass, but if you want the golden battle pass, even though you're Omega, you'll probably have to pay something more. Hopefully it's not going to be too much. Most likely you have to buy it with Aurum and not Plex, but this may have been changed. We don't know. We're going to see exactly when the patch is deployed. How do you acquire these battle passes? As laid out in the past, Concord will offer Capsuleers rare thermogenic storm nanocores, nanocore learning materials, and an amount of SP as a reward for participating. Number 2, due to the increased scale of data sharing, Concord will offer more mission options for Capsuleers. This pass will only be available for a limited time. Opportunities like this are rare. Concord appreciates Capsuleer active participation and data provided in the feedback. This could be that the feedback for the Hunt was taken into consideration and we'll be having the Battle Pass being able to acquire with using Plex. I don't know. We'll see. Optimizations. Improve the detailed page of supply boxes, add a space exploration technology, blah 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 blah. Oh, these are the skills. So space exploration technologies, advanced and expert. to natural science exploration. Okay, number 3, change the covert ops hull bonus of each level from scan strength +1 to 5% reduction of resonance scanner and 5% reduction of nanoscanner. Please be aware and don't confuse these ships with other ships that have sensor strength. No, that's a bad bonus. It's something that was forgotten, and it ties into ECM, which is another type of E-War that was not introduced, even though it was promised to us like months ago. Number 4, Interbus and ore ships in Cosmic Anomalies drop Mark 7 and Mark 9 resonance scanners. This means in Anomalies, you know, there's sometimes some mining ships spawn at the end. The last spawn is just like 4 or 5 mining ships, or some, I don't know, haulers, like a Nereus or something like that. You destroy those and they can drop scanners, which is awesome. Number 5, pretty much supply chests getting the scanners also. So when you open those, you'll get probably scanners. Although there's quite a lot of modules inside that can have a chance of dropping, so the scanner is just added on top of that. Is going to be a small chance of dropping an actual scanner. Number 6, on the fitting screen, the original targeting range display has been changed to signature radius, and the original signature radius display has now been changed to source radius, pretty much because the targeting range is redundant, given the fact all ships can target at 1,000 kilometers. So we will get another stat for the ships, which is going to be the source radius, and this attribute is going to be interacting with the scanners. So the scanners have a scan radius and the ships have a source radius. They will come face to face, these attributes, and it will determine how fast somebody can scan you down, and if you get a notification or not. We've talked about this in a previous episode. Number 7, Nihilus Space drops more experiment data, which is used to reverse engineer pirate faction nanocores. Number 8, reverse engineering jobs for pirate faction nanocores have now been added. 9, adjusted the ship categories in the market, fixed issue custom ships to appear in the wrong category. Yeah, there were plenty of those. Number 10, new Dead Space modules of meta level 6, 7, and 11 to 14 can be reprocessed. The reprocessed materials can be used to reverse engineer Dead Space modules. 11, probability of Dead Space anomalies spawned from bases has been lowered from 1% to 0.4%. It's what we've been talking in the beginning of the patch notes. Number 12, Nihilus Day Space gates are naturally spawned in nullsec systems about 1 every 28 days in a system. Since each instance of Nihilus Space has multiple exits, this confirms what I've been talking to you in the previous episodes. The actual frequency will be higher. Fear not, we don't know yet how many end-space pockets will exist in total, because that number is actually important. It will determine how fast other end spaces will spawn and how many connections can they have to known space. So if the numbers of end space pockets are high, then you'll probably, let's say for a range of 10 systems or some system in a constellation, at least you'll have one entry point or exit point in an end pocket, I think, every day. If the end space pocket number is low, then we're probably talking about one entry per 10 systems being like every week or so. 13. Intermittent condensed asteroid belts are no longer naturally spawn. So this mechanic has been removed from known space. Intermittent belts have been removed. This confirms it, and you'll only see like random condensed belt spawns that do happen because it was mentioned. So like you can get a decayed condensed belt spawned, but no intermittent. The intermittent mechanic was something that was constantly spawning condensed asteroid belts as long as the intermittent was not mined and was just kept alive inside the system. Intermittent removed, so this only leaves the randomly spawned, naturally occurring condensed belts, which are very rare, and of course the rich belts inside end space. So pretty much they're forcing people, if they want more resources, to go into end space. 15. When refreshing condensed belts, there's a 50% probability of spawning a Nihilus Space condensed belt. Oh, this is awesome. This is a good addition. 16. Now dead spaces can only be discovered by using a scanner. yeah, their spaces have been moved and only scannable. 17 fleet commanders are able to receive bonuses from fleet group modules, group recover modules, and armor defense link modules. 18 added new attribute to ships called Source Radius. They've already talked about this. All sentry guns, oh, this is important, number 19. All sentry guns are fitted with warp disruptors, which can disrupt the warp drive of ships within 1,000 kilometers from the sentry gun, causing them to reset warp and preventing the ships from warping away. So no more hit and run tactics. They've pretty much been clear on adding additional defense to the gate guns in low sec, to the gate guns, and of course to the station guns. So this, not only will they insta-shot you, they'll be switching target faster, but they will also warp scrambling you, so you can't just shoot and go away. If you shoot, you die. So you need a pretty much big force to just shoot them. It's going to be definitely a suicide run, so no more people warping into safe spots as soon as they fire one shot. 20, added the Concord Pass. Blah blah blah. 21, improved calculation method for estimated market prices. 22, space station docking distance has been increased to 5 kilometers to avoid occasional 2 kilometer additional flight required to dock when using autopilot. Yeah, previously I pretty much advised everyone into creating bookmarks inside the docking ranges of stations because there are plenty of stations that have a short docking range, especially the Minotaur ones, and if you just go on autopilot, you will sometimes end up outside of the docking range, and then you have to slowly mule towards this docking ring, and well, you're pretty much open to attacks. Not necessarily in low sec, but in null sec as well. 23, compensation have been issues to players who owned tech level 10 skins, which have been removed from the game in terms of the ships having been removed, and you still owe the skins, you'll get refunded or something like that. 25, drone control range has been renamed to drone command range. Wonder what this means. 26, added corporation hangar logs. Player can view to check item deposit withdrawals records of the hangar. This is awesome. I think this is the thing that I've been talking about when we reviewed the Trello roadmap. If you guys remember, it was something to the corporation auditing. This is the corporation auditing. This is what corporations have been expecting. So players will now, at least officers, will now know who's taking what from where. This is an excellent addition. 27, added a permission for approving item moves in Corporation Hangar. Now, when a player without permission takes out an item, a request will be sent to the admin. The item can only be taken out after the request is approved. 28, the stand-up warp scrambler should now be displaying the correct name. Previous name was incorrectly shown as stand-up warp disruptor. 29, updated estimated prices according to the current market transaction records. And this is pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen, about the patch notes. I'm fairly happy with this patch. We'll have to see how it progresses and how will it fare against the player base, because the players are pretty much the judges of the content that they get. I know you're probably asking, but Gica, what about that thing you mentioned with the design of the N-Space Anomalies? Well, don't worry, we'll have it right here. As I mentioned, having a sphere, it's a pretty simple design, and it's quite difficult to toy around with what you can put inside a sphere. So what we have here is one anomaly inside an N-Space pocket. As you know, an N-Space pocket can have multiple anomalies. You will be able to move from a beacon to beacon, or at least from anomaly to anomaly inside the same N-Space pocket. You'll not be able to travel to other N-Space pockets from within an N-Space pocket. You'll only be able to enter from one entry or exit, and you can navigate around the labyrinth inside, and eventually you can get out of it through a different exit out into a different system in known space. But inside, the anomalies that you jump from one to another are just going to be something like this. You'll have the dead center, which is kind of like the beacon for it, and it'll have, like explained in the previous updates that we got for N-Space, it's going to have a protection bubble which will vary in size. It could be to 200 or 400 kilometers in range. So this is what the white circle represents. It's the boundaries to that protection bubble, which prevents you from instant death or to, I don't know, severe damage to your ship. If you go outside of this protection bubble, you have pretty much death. It's the gamma ray burst that we've been hearing about in the latest updates regarding N-Space. Also, the updates mention that if you do travel outside, the ship will immediately return, so you cannot control and go deeper out into death zone. So you just be returned. It's going to be like probably like an invisible wall that you cannot go outside of. So we have the center of the protection field. We have the protection field. What can we find inside? Well, this is an anomaly. It's a one small part inside the N-Space. So what it will have? Well, it will have some gravity wells. It's going to be one well through which you entered this area, and probably other gravity wells that will lead out of this area towards deeper into the labyrinth, into other anomalies, into other such bubbles, or outside into a different known space system. So in this design, in this example that I just thought of, it's a sphere. You can't do much in a sphere. It's pretty much limited to what you can put inside. And the three dots pretty much represent gravity wells that are present inside this protective bubble. One of them is the one that you use to get inside here. So when you jump from, let's say, a system in known space, you'll wake up here and you'll be right next to one of these red dots. Now there's going to be other red dots, other gravity wells inside this protection bubble. Now the placement I chose, I think, is one of the few designs that what could be approached by the developers. We'll see this most likely once the patch deploys and somebody gets to explore N-Space. I'll be doing videos of N-Space mappings and stuff like that. But as I mentioned, being limited, you need to have like the gravity wells somewhere in here. It's definitely not going to be to where the yellow dot is. The yellow dot is actually represented by the whatever content is inside this protective bubble, be it the dead space, be it the asteroid belt that you can mine. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the setup can vary. Like, I don't know if they actually put the gravity wells right next to the content that's available inside the bubble, but it's something to take into consideration that if you're doing content in the near the yellow dot, if somebody jumps in your area using one of those three gravity wells, you're pretty much screwed, because there's no way out. You have to go towards them to use the gravity well, either to get back into known space or to go deeper into the labyrinth. This is just something that I came up with given the design of a sphere, which is pretty much what they mentioned it will be. Now, it can't necessarily be accurate because I have no idea how it will be. I haven't seen the content yet, if you're implying that. On the test server, by the way, on the test server that I am, it's pretty much the same content as in the live server. So there's nothing in advance. I don't have any more information in terms of what it will look like. But this is probably one of the pictures that you will be seeing when you go into an N-Space pocket inside one of these anomalies. So I think for mining, the best chance for survival is having a cloaking device on the ship. Or just go with like your entire corporation, have one, at least, I don't know, 2 squads of the fleet doing defensive and, I don't know, camping these, and the other part of the fleet just do the mining and then get out. As mentioned, even though the bubble has, like, I don't know, 300, 400 kilometers in range, in diameter, or whatever, you'll not be able to warp from the yellow dot to one of the gravity wells. Warping is prohibited inside the protection bubble. Also, you cannot warp from inside protection bubble to any other parts inside the N-Space. You have to use the gravity wells. So that's why one of our winners of today was pretty much disappointed that the content is mostly aimed at, you guessed it, corporations alliances, or at least groups of people doing content together as fleets, as groups. If you're going solo, you'd better, I don't know, be prepared as a Dead Space runner or Anomaly runner or, I don't know, PvE guy. You'll probably have nothing to do here except find death. As a solo miner, you probably have a lot of chances of getting some of that cool stuff or inside the rich belts and get out using your cloaking device. And of course, there's also some chances of solo pirating inside Endspace. Bubbles are pretty much useless because you won't stop anyone from warping. There's no warping going around. Also, warp disruptors are pretty much useless. Warp scrambler will be useful because you'll be able to cut down enemy micro warp drive. Webs will be good. We don't know if you are being scrammed or warp disrupted. Will you still be able to use the gravity wells? If not, that's going to suck. So I guess a lot of stuff we'll be finding out when the patch deploys, and I'll be doing a lot of content to cover a lot of the aspects of this patch and how it evolves. I'll probably do some mappings of Endspace pockets. I don't know if there will be like systems, will they have an indication like wormholes in EVE Online have, like with the J something? Again, it's one of the questions that I posed. Was the wormhole areas in the game, we know they were in the game, were they repurposed to serve this Endspace mechanics that they've been developed, or is it completely from scratch and the wormholes are still there? I think the Exile did mention that the wormholes are going to be arriving in 2022, so I guess it's not repurposed content, it's something new, and I hope it'll be fun. I don't know what to say. They could say fly safe, but that's boring. So probably fly dangerously, because that's much more exciting. So we've reached that part of the video where we announce the next community question of the week. So for the next week, the question is, do you think there's chances for solo content running in Endspace? Please leave a comment below and let me know. I'm really interested in your opinion, and we will be showcasing the next two winners next week. So good luck, and can't wait for your suggestions and opinions. That's it for today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please throw in a like and a subscribe. They really help. And if you really want to help me keep this channel alive, there's a YouTube channel membership, sort of like functions like Patreon, and you can actually support me and help this channel grow and survive. There's several options in channel membership, and you can help me out by donating a small sum of $2 monthly. So, I hope you guys learned something. Thank you guys for watching. A very big shout out to my channel supporters, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.